be following along. Good afternoon. My name is Amanda Marino, co-founder of Next Level Recovery Associates. Website is in my name. And, if you're on my profile, you probably know a little bit about me. I have a very special guest today, Adam Rossen, who I've known for a number of years, was introduced by a friend, Liza. And Adam has a growing, change creating law firm in South Florida, actually probably all of Florida. I know you have Broward County and now Palm Beach County, but you represent clients throughout the state. We've worked cases together, and I absolutely am a huge Adam fan. So welcome to my LinkedIn Live today, Adam, and thank you for taking the time as a busy criminal attorney to do this.
Thanks, Amanda. I'm so glad to be here. And I'm a huge Amanda fan, a huge Blake fan. So what you guys are both doing is absolutely amazing. And I'm just glad that we can, anytime I can talk to you is a happy day for me.
Yeah. And thank you. Adam recently started a podcast, which I was on episode 3, which was really awesome. I forget, what is the name of it?
It's the Success in South Florida podcast. And what we do is we just wanted to make a community piece. I was born and raised here. I love South Florida. I could never imagine myself living somewhere else. And one of the things that really propels what we do at the Rossen Law Firm and why we chose criminal defense is we want to make South Florida a better place. And so we profile just successful people and all walks of life and people who are doing big things. And we want to hear their stories and want to get advice from them and just make it a really fun, local community piece. So we started that a few months ago and it's going really well so far. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me on and for highlighting and for, it means a lot. You have a successful law firm that you look at me as someone as successful in our community means a lot to me. Yeah. So I had Adam on today, really, like we planned this months ago, right? So we planned, and Adam's, motto is, which is why I made it the topic that it is when bad things happen to good people. It's kind of what was in your, part of, in the marketing bio that was sent to me. And I was like, that's like the perfect topic, right? Because I've even recently had, dealt with some, criminal cases where the individuals have substance use disorder and mental illness, and, they're criminalized more than they are helped and supported. And one thing I love that you implement in your leadership and among your team is being educated on mental illness and addiction with the clients and families you're working with.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, when we met maybe 5 years ago from Liza, it was actually at a local seminar that Liza and I co-branded or co-presented and co-founded. And what got me going with that is, as a criminal lawyer for over 15 years, I was thinking about things and I was like, well, why aren't we closer with the therapist? They're scared of us. We're scared of them. Why? There's a problem here. Let me try to help solve that problem. So we came up with a lecture series, and that's actually where we met, of teaching therapists, substance abuse treatment centers, providers, behavioral, therapists, right? Just, hey, this is the way the criminal system works. And the last thing that we want is for you to see Johnny on Thursday, knowing that he has court with me on Tuesday, and then find out that Johnny went to prison, right? And where was that disconnect? And what can we do to really improve that? Because we're all here for the same purpose and reason, to help others, people who need help. And we've seen a lot with the prosecutor's office, the judges. There's still, the legal industry as a whole is so slow to adapt to change. Even in COVID, how, after Zoom, and after COVID, they're dying to eliminate Zoom. And it's like, why? Zoom was great for certain things in the courthouse. So they're very slow to adapt and change, and it's wrong. And we're just trying to really change that model and make sure that people understand, the real issues surrounding addiction and mental illness.
Yes, you guys are change makers, and like you said, you want to make the community better. I'm born and raised here. Blake is born and raised here. You're born and raised here. I don't think you can see the comments, but if you have any comments, questions for Adam, for myself, if you want to just say hello, that you're here, we'd love to know that you're here, and we'll give you a shout out. So Blake is here, of course. My team is always the most supportive of my lives. So hey guys, Adam, we love you over here. Collaboration is key. We can. Then we have Shoful. He said, good evening. So it must be in a different time zone.
With a butterfly. I can see. I turned the comments on.
Oh, cool. Okay, great.
Yeah.
You're the first person that did that so far. Otherwise, I've had to read that.
I'm good at figuring things out.
Okay, I know that.
Criminal defense lawyers have to be resourceful.
Yes. So yeah, so like the collaboration between the legal and the mental health and substance use providers is essential with helping, because yes, there are criminal acts that occur, and there is, obviously consequences, and I believe, a DUI is a very serious thing. Many people lose their lives as drivers. I do believe that a lot of, I was a juvenile and I was aggressive while taking an egg and cheese croissant from Dunkin' Donuts, and I got charged with robbery as a second-degree felony. But I was also on lots of pills and didn't remember any of it. And thank God I was 17. But I needed help. I did need to be, I was aggressive with the man at the store, so I did need to have that, that punishment or that consequence. But I also needed help. So we share some of what you do with that and like what that brings out for you when I kind of bring that topic up.
Well, yeah. And so, Amanda, that's actually something that I didn't know you had gone through. But imagine if you were 18, and imagine if the prosecutor's office said, well, sorry, that's a violent crime, and we don't offer any diversion programs for a crime like that. And you're looking at, roughly 2 to 15 years in prison, right? And so a lot of what we see, right, we can all agree what you did was wrong, but does the punishment fit the crime? And one of the things that we deal with all the time are situations like this, where somebody is, drastically overcharged, and the prosecutors use it as leverage. And if they, when I was a prosecutor in Broward 15 years ago, it was, well, if we make an exception for this, we make an exception for everyone. And then the whole diversion program and system crumbles. And that was their very fixed mindset, which I just never agreed with. I thought it was terrible. So that's one of the other things that we deal with all the time, where we see, drastic overcharging of crimes, to induce a plea or to just, put leverage against our clients. And that's not right. So,
like kind of like, let's like make a lesson out of this one, but we hear that all the time, right? Like we have to take a stand. We have to, but if we want to have these individuals come back to the community and not make the same mistakes, just punishing them with, charges and time in jail is not going to help them get better. Right. So like, what do you think that we can do better as a community, as a, legal and mental health system, to help individuals that have substance or mental health induced, crimes that, don't harm people, but they happen?
Well, I would say continue to work with the prosecutors, the defense attorneys, and the judges, because especially, you have to understand, right? The prosecutor's office, the head prosecutor in each county, is an elected position, and nobody's ever going to win an election saying I'm soft on crime, right? And that's how they become elected, saying I'm going to be tough on crime. I'm going to protect the people of this county. And the same with judges. Judges can be elected or appointed, but once they become a judge, they have to run for re-election. And the last thing they want to do again is have their name in the newspaper because they didn't protect somebody, right? Or, they gave somebody a break, and the Palm Beach Post or the Sun Sentinel wants to blame the judge instead of the person. And you also have to understand, and I lecture on this all the time, is that prosecutors, police officers especially, and judges, they exercise caution. They're some of the most cautious conservative people around. The problem is they don't exercise your caution, our client's caution, or my caution. Theirs is, police officers' caution is make an arrest, deal with it later, right? Protect the situation by making an arrest. The judges is, well, okay, so if we talk to a judge about how a client's unstable and needs to be on medication, a judge, actually, most judges, not all, but most, will think, okay, well, I got one place that can prevent this person from doing anything, and it's called jail.
Yes.
Right. And so we may think of, hey, there's instability. We need to gain stability by doing X, Y, and Z. And a judge views that as the complete opposite of that and will defer to jail, right? Which is their caution. Their safe space is put somebody in jail, because then everybody else is covered. And that's not right. So I really think it starts with the educational piece. But we have to change decades of of behavior and thoughts.
Maybe even a
So
century,
I'm sorry?
maybe even a century of behavior,
Yeah.
like talking
Absolutely.
since the beginning of time, how things have been done.
Absolutely.
You
It
know,
is getting better.
yes.
It's getting better, but look, Florida is kind of like three states in one. Depending on what part of the state you go to, it's the deep South, right? It's more of South Georgia, and even within the counties, there's some judges in Miami, Broward, and Palm Beach who are a lot tougher than others or a lot less understanding. So we just education is key all over, and it is slowly changing, getting better, but it's still going to take some time.
How can people like myself, you, Blake, how can we educate? How can we how can we be making a difference? Like Blake and I do a lot of stuff in the workplace, culture, helping police have a mental health, track and be able to support their be like a friendly mental health and substance use disorder workplace for people to feel safe to come forward to provide the education. Like what can be done in the legal system, if anything, right now?
Right. Well, that's why, I have started that lecture series, at least to outwardly educate therapists, right? And
Mhm.
substance abuse and mental health providers. I think you guys, it can, a lot of it unfortunately is political, right? So you have to be able to get in and have a prosecutor's office that's willing and to understand. You have to be able to have judges that are willing to understand. And what I've seen is it really starts with the drug court and mental health court judges. They are really good about getting out in the community and looking at certain facilities and speaking to people and going to conferences. I know when I spoke at the Florida Behavioral Health Conference about 4 or 5 years ago, right before me was Judge Tobin Singer, who was at the time the Broward County drug court judge, and she was there on a panel speaking about that. So,
That's
you know,
great.
having those judges, Judge Ari Porth in Broward, who runs felony drug court and mental health court, he's great about being out in the community and going to see places. I know some of the juvenile judges are really good about going out to see some of the facilities. So I think the more that we can do stuff with them and hopefully have them report back to their colleagues, the more that we can do with the prosecutor's office, just education, education, education. And
Absolutely.
honestly, a lot of it too is presentation. And to be quite frank, there's a lot of criminal defense attorneys that just kind of wing things and they don't have a great presentation or a great mitigation plan. They just go up and just try to do what they do. And what I've noticed is judges are a lot more receptive to change, or when you're asking them for something, when you say, Judge, here's the entire plan. This is a reputable person, reputable place. We have everything covered. It's in a pretty box with a pretty little, wrapping paper. All you need to do is just tie the bow and we're done. As opposed to asking the judge, I need you to come up with this treatment plan. I need you to decide, right? I need you to do all these things. They're going to be overwhelmed and that's not their area of expertise. And I see a lot of criminal defense attorneys doing it that way. And that's the wrong way to do it.
Yeah, that's kind of what we were talking about, the old school and the new school. Like we're both in positions as younger, cutting edge in our fields, right? Like I think you might even be a little younger than me. I'm 41. How old are you?
I am 41 for half a day. I turn 42 tomorrow.
Well, happy birthday. I turn 42 next month. So we're very close in age. So
We
we're
are.
in this place where we have like a position of leadership, but we're also like, kind of we're trying to create change. We're trying to shake things up, right? We're trying to make like our career paths and our community a better place than it was before us. Like I know that for sure in you. I do want to just say, if anyone wants to ask Adam any questions, obviously he's not going to give free legal advice here, but if you have any questions for him about, when bad things happen to good people, about where he's located, maybe I could backtrack real quick and have you chime in, like where your practices are and like how people can contact you. And we'll do it again at the end for people.
Absolutely. And look, I'm here to help. So ask away. And if it's something I can't answer, I will. So we have offices all throughout South Florida. We have some pretty aggressive plans to expand. So right now our main office is in Fort Lauderdale. We also have an office in Boca Raton where I'm shooting this right now, which is where I was born and raised. We have an office in Wellington. We have an office in Miramar, Sunrise, and we're opening Kendall and Coral Gables real soon as well. And the firm right now has 7 amazing criminal defense attorneys. We have 2 of them are board certified in criminal trial law, which is about 400 out of 100,000 attorneys in the state of Florida have that recognition.
Wow.
Yeah. And we have 2, and they're both female, and they're both amazing.
Is one of the ones I met at the Professionals for Parkland event? You brought.
Yes. So Susan Lawson and Meddy Ross, they're both amazing, and like I said, 400 out of 100,000. So wow. It's quite an accomplishment for them, and they're amazing. But our firm's motto is we help good people when bad things happen so they can achieve their best future. And we added on the achieve their best future part about 2 years ago because we really thought about it as a team and said, well, why are we doing this, right? What's our goal? Why do we want to help people? What do we want them to become? Yes. And we just said, right, it's all about them, whatever it is for them, achieving their best future. And we've had the firm for over 15 years, and people want to hire us because not only do we have great legal skill, but we treat people the way that they want to be treated, with respect, compassion, and we're always striving for a Ritz-Carlton level of customer service.
That's so funny. My first recovery job was at the Breakers for 4 years, which has completely helped me to be a very customer service oriented person in the work that I do today, also working with the higher end clientele like I do. So it's funny how everything kind of paves your way. And our thing is we want to create lasting change within the family system and the individual. We don't want to be a quick fix. We want to create lasting change.
Right.
So yes, again, any questions you have for Adam, and we'll chime in after with his website, or Blake could actually even help with that. But Blake has some questions. Do you see them?
I do. So first, I'll look at the easy one first. Is that Elvis behind me or Tony Montana? No, that is Scarface. So I don't think we have that's Tony Montana. I don't know if it's the wide view, but we have a really cool backdrop here with some fun stuff that I guess isn't showing here. But yeah, we have that, and I have my there we go, and I have my Mamba Mentality book, my Kobe book. So this is a kind of our cool podcast video setup.
Okay, now it's set up for you. And then,
and Amanda, you can see over that shoulder your friends Tupac and Biggie.
Oh yes.
Sorry.
in my mom-mobile,
Right.
True to ourselves always. So Adam, I'll just go ahead and ask you, Blake. Adam's firm looks to foster a really healthy workplace model. Can Adam speak to how he's broken the mold of traditional law firm workplace structure?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I never wanted to be that stuffy law firm. Lawyers are unapproachable. Law firms, right? They're just, it's a different air about it. And I just tell people we're amazing professionals, but we're just pretty cool people too, who are just here to help. So within the firm, we try to have fun ourselves. There's helping others is a grind. So some of the days I'm driving home and I'm like, all right, great. I helped 3 people today. Who's here to help me? Right. But we make sure that we attract and repel. So all of our employees, our staff, our team are like-minded individuals. They all have our same core values, which to us are non-negotiable. And besides the core values, you get into criminal law to help others and really make an impact. So we try to have fun. We do a lot of different events. We're going to do a March Madness bracket that I think tomorrow we're setting it up, that we always do every year. We're going to have a little fun workplace event at Funky Buddha coming up. And really when clients come in, it's hard, right? You don't want to, we're not meeting a client in the parking lot of a Burger King to pick up $500 cash like some criminal defense lawyers do. And they do. Oh, they do. And we're not, suit and tie every single day where we are there's no bond between us and the client. So we really try to just be ourselves, and, you can be professional, but also have a compassionate, caring environment, an environment that disarms people.
Mhm.
So that way they can be honest with us, and we can build that relationship, which is founded on trust. And we've designed our office that way. We have special scents in our office. We have the Aria Hotel from Vegas, that scent. And there's
I have
certain,
to you in my Aroma 360.
yeah. I think we have the same thing. I think that's the one we use. And
Yeah.
so there's certain things that we've designed. We have pictures of us with our clients, and most of them will just have like a little smiley face over the client's head. But we want our clients to see us with our former clients, celebrating the wins, being happy. And that's even why our website is the way it is. We smile in our pictures. We don't sit there and do this, tough guy look.
Yes.
Um, you know, we're tough. I don't need to show you how tough we are. We're tough. We need to be.
Yes, being approachable, being kind, being compassionate, being fun, liking Biggie and Tupac, and but still being excellent at your job, I think is like something that Blake and I on our social media, we are extremely professional with how we do things, but we're also fun and show a little bit of who we are. Like, so we want, there's also some of that in our side of the business, right? Some case management organizations, extremely stuffy, extremely like unapproachable, like, very closed off. Like I just don't ever want to be that. No matter what I get to, I want to always be approachable. I want people to know who I am, not put off one persona on here and be different behind the scenes, right? Like I want people to feel comfortable with us, and know this is who we are and this is what we're about.
Well, it's all about know, like, and trust, and you have to have all three. So even on our social media, we just have fun. Our social media is a little more fun than just the general office, but we have fun with it. We have a victory bell that we ring, and not just for social media, and we ring that bell and we talk and also just educate people. A lot of what we do, especially on our YouTube channel, is education based.
Love that.
There's a lot of misinformation out there.
Yes. If you're here, please say hello to Adam and I. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. We would love to hear from you, or just love to know that you're here. So the next question I have for you is, what is when bad things happen to good people? Where did that come from, and what is that about?
Right. So I had the firm since 2008 and from 2008 to 2015 with the previous partner. And when we split in 2015, it was, and we're still very good friends to this day, but it was okay. Everything's on me, and I just need to in a way, it was kind of like resetting the firm and resetting goals and everything. And for that 7-year period, we had never grown. It was him and me and no staff at all. And as I'm thinking about what kind of firm I want to build and how we're going to do this, I really thought about it, and I said, well, we need a slogan or a motto, and not just something catchy, but something, a lot of lawyers, it's like 3 words: aggressive, compassionate, fearless. And it's like, what do those even mean? Right. You can take that lawyer's name out, put 50 different lawyers' names in, and nobody will know the difference or care. And so we really thought about, I thought about it. I'm like, well, what do I want to do? Why are we doing this? Who are we helping? And so that's when we just came up with, we help good people when bad things happen, right? And then we added a few years ago so they can achieve their best future. I noticed that most of my clients are good people. I love going to a barbecue or a Super Bowl party or really anywhere, and people go, oh, you represent those people. And, I always have a lot of fun. Well, who are those people, right? Because if you're 45 or 50, or if you're 50 years old and your 20-year-old gets caught with weed in college, you're calling me right away. Does that mean your son's a criminal, right? What happens if your son gets falsely accused of date rape? Is your son a criminal? You're going to have me on speed dial immediately, right? Or whatever the situation is. What happens, like imagine, right? Amanda, that situation, does that make you a criminal? No. Right? Does that make you a bad person? No. So it was just a situation, and that's it. And our clients, I mean, we out of all of our clients, I'd say 5% or less are currently in jail. So there are some criminal defense attorneys where 30, 40, 50% of their clients are in custody, and they're representing a different caliber of client. And we've just found that we were really good with first and second time people through the criminal justice system, people who, it doesn't matter, white collar, blue collar jobs, just people who are scared, who are nervous, who want the best and have a lot to lose. Right. And to them, an arrest is a life-changing moment rather than just a normal part of life.
Yes.
And those are the clients that we work best with. And that's why we created our slogan to attract those clients. And yeah, I mean, that's what we did.
Yeah, and we've worked actually multiple cases with Adam's firm, and they've always just done such a fantastic job. Really communicative, very collaborative. Like that's really important to us. Um, you probably saw me discussing, and we talked a little bit about it before this. So I was pretty upset and heated a few weeks ago with a client that first DUI. In Central Florida, which is not like South Florida, not a very different old school mentality.
And it was not Orlando, right? It was country Florida, right? So
very old school. I mean, you drive around there and you're like, whoa, where am I? It's like that kind of place. Some really good programs, treatment up there, and professionals and stuff. But the judicial system, anytime I deal with somebody in that, even in Orlando, I have trouble, in that whole Central Florida area. But so first DUI, I already served 7 months, and there was a petition to, release her to treatment after 7 months of a year sentence. And it was denied. And I just felt like, I really connected and related to this young lady, and then I also thought of comparatively, like the person that abused me, assaulted my mom, and kidnapped my sister and took her to Canada served the same amount of time. So it's like we talked about earlier, where the crime and from what you're saying, it just depends on the judge. It depends on so many different factors.
Right.
So I would just love to hear any input.
Yeah, and imagine if that happened to her in South Florida. She'd probably, look, I don't know the facts of the case, but if you're saying a first DUI and the maximum was a year in jail, then she had to have had a car crash, because that's the only way you can get up to a year in jail on a first DUI in Florida is with a car crash. Yes. But that means nobody was seriously injured because it was a misdemeanor, not a felony.
Yeah, so nobody was.
Right. So maybe a little bit of injury, obviously some property damage. Okay. In South Florida, that's usually no jail at all. 0, especially if we have good mitigation, especially if we have, an actual plan. And most judges in South Florida will absolutely release to treatment or do something like that. So, and it's just, how sad is that we're, what are we, 2.5, 3 hours away, right? Yeah. I went to school at the University of Florida, so I know Ocala pretty well, just driving through. I mean, 3 hours away, and you have such a disproportionate sentence like that. Even a first offense like that in Orlando, in Orange County, or in Hillsborough, in Tampa, wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, anytime Blake and I have dealt with the Marchman Act, in Central Florida, in that area, it's always much more complex. Like Blake, was on a court date, the judge was coming at him. Meanwhile, this kid is he actually did end up making it to treatment, and we just saw him. And when we visited the program, but it took a really long time in the court system, kind of fought against us rather than going with us. And I feel like in South Florida, we're really leading that. We're leading the pack in, with our state attorney, Dave Ehrenberg, with the laws against, the patient brokering and having ethical treatment. And now we're leading the way with the Marchman Act. Only I think 7 states have anything like it. One of them being Kentucky, that I did an intervention in, but we're leading the way down here in a lot of ways, in a lot of paths of this, with mental health.
Florida only gets the bad press, so we need to get the good press, right?
That's always my goal, is to get Florida some good loving. But right. If you go to other states now, they're all dealing with the stuff we dealt with down here, but and there's nothing in place like we have. So how have you been able to help some of your clients? I never would doubt, like I said at the beginning, I would never say that some of the things that individuals do, including myself, while under the influence, but I can tell you, I woke up in the juvenile detention center and I said, why am I here? Because I was completely blacked out. I didn't even remember what happened. I thought I just took a sandwich, and I was like, it was $1.89 egg and cheese
right.
croissant. Why am I still here? And they were like, oh no, you're being charged with robbery, a secondary felony. And so I didn't even remember it happening. So yes, should I be, there are things that need to be consequences, right? But just what are your thoughts on like how we can do better with that, and what are some of your experiences on how you've helped people with those?
Well, and even let's again go back to your story. It's, if that was the rock bottom, then we can use that to turn it around. But knowing from you, right, that wasn't. So
Right.
it's hard because, as myself, a parent of two very young children, you know, and being in this field, sometimes if that's what it takes to be charged with a very serious disproportionate crime to then work it through and then make a life altering change, well, then we can turn a negative into a positive. And sometimes if that's going to be the catalyst, then okay. But a lot of times it's not, and a lot of times that, especially if the person doesn't have the funds to hire the financial resources to hire a great criminal defense lawyer or team of criminal defense lawyers, then that's where it becomes just where it spirals. It spirals and spirals. And then what we've seen is that's the first thing. And then, before you know it, they violate, maybe they get probation, they violate. Now they're in jail for 6 or 12 months. They get out. Now they can't get a job, right? Then they do something else stupid, poor choices, and it compounds. And
Yes.
1 + 1 + 1 becomes 20 instead of 3.
Right.
So, it's a tough one, right? If this was easily solved, we wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah. What do you see with your clients where they're able to, see a therapist, work with we've had clients where you've called us for, companions, the 24/7 live in, like if they can get this kind of support or get some, treatment or outpatient care, like what are you seeing change happen in individuals' lives that get that piece?
So we are, as you know, right, the path is not this way, right? The path is this way, and hopefully it continues to go up. But really it comes down to the support system, and especially for our younger clients, getting away from the so-called friends and the bad negative influences. And it's just about stability. So we never want clients to come back unless it's to come back and visit and say how great they're doing, right? Meaning we never want our clients to get rearrested.
Yes.
But it's okay. Well, some of our clients have such a terrible home life where the parents, the loved ones, are the part of the problem, right? And they're the ones that facilitate or the ones that just create the need or the urges to self-medicate, right? And so it's really, I think it's about getting rid of some of those environmental factors. It's about having the right mindset and understanding what the issues are and a true and deep commitment to making a change. And, from our end, we always have a little bit of leverage of, hey, you may go to jail or prison or be a convicted felon or whatever these things are that you don't want to have happen. They may happen if you don't make a change. And we take the approach of, well, let us help you with that. We mentor our clients as well. That's one of the reasons why I want to make sure I have so many good people to refer our clients to. Because if not, are we really helping them, right? If I shake their hand outside of court and say, all right, see you, hopefully never see you again, and that's it, am I really helping them?
Right. Not giving them a plan or services.
Right.
Yeah,
But not
absolutely.
enough.
Could you have a case that comes to your mind? Because I always like discussing case studies. Like, is there a case like that comes to your mind that's like something that's like just like warms your heart, or is just something that just has impacted you profoundly that you could discuss?
We have so many, but if you go on our website, we have a silent video playing in the background, and also on our YouTube channel, the full video with sound and everything. The interview video is with him on there. It's our client James Connor, and he always gives me permission to use his name and talk about his story. We actually run a very selective summer internship program at my firm. And every summer, he's one of our featured speakers. He comes in person and just loves it. And here was a man who, when I met him, he was, I don't know, 35 years old. He had been in and out of trouble for 20 years, grew up in Pompano, and that's all he knew, right? And was just addicted to drugs, and 6'3", 150 pounds. His wife calls me. I meet him in the jail, and I'm looking at him, and he's clearly, right, just all messed up, from drugs, or really from detox from drugs and the whole life of drugs. And he had 2 young children at the time, and he violated probation for drugs. And I wasn't his original attorney on this, and we're looking, and he actually scored prison, which there's a point system in felony court where they tabulate everything, and he was supposed to go to prison for 2 or 3 years. And really, we just got to know him, and it's like, this guy could be my friend, just a cool guy. I mean, he's a painter, he's a body shop guy, a total blue collar worker. And we just, I don't know, we just hit it off and just shooting the shit as two dudes hanging out, and he did all the work. It was just, we had great mitigation. We had a great package. We got him, and look, a lot of credit goes to the judge on this, and she's a very tough judge. But we have to give her all the credit in the world. She believed in him, gave him a chance, and he went to recovery. He did really well. And then about a year later, he got rearrested because when he was on the lam from the law the first time, he had stolen a paint gun at a former job site of his and sold it to a pawn shop. And then it took the prosecutor's office 11 months to arrest him and charge him on this.
Oh my goodness.
And this was part of, right. And so here he is making a huge improvement in his life. He's 6'3". He's now 40 pounds of rock solid muscle. I'm seeing pictures of him and his kids. He's sending to me Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, every holiday. And I'm on my honeymoon with my wife I'm in Capri, and I get a message that he was arrested. And just unbelievable, right, for this. And so we had to then go through a whole nother process, but it was great because his mindset had changed. Instead of get me out, and blaming everybody else, blaming the prosecutor, blaming the judge, he said, look, Adam, goes, I'll bide my time. I'm not going to use. I've changed. I'm on the right path. I haven't used in 11 months. I'm not going to let this derail me. I trust you. I trust your team. I trust the judge. He goes, I'll be patient. I've learned patience. And we got it through. We got it done. He went back to his program, continued on, and he's amazing. And we actually early terminated his probation about a year and a half ago, and he gave the judge his 3-year medallion.
Oh,
I'm sorry. He gave the judge his 4-year medallion because I have his 3-year medallion.
Oh.
So we have his 3-year medallion in my office in one of the conference rooms next to a picture of him and a bunch of our lawyers. And it's just the bond that we have. And look, we have all types of clients, all types of backgrounds, all types of ages. But he's one that I just, totally bonded with, and we stay in touch all the time. And, he's an amazing dad. We follow each other on Instagram. I send him DMs of funny things probably twice a week, and yeah, I mean, it's just, that's what it's about. It's about building relationships, right? And,
yes.
And imagine, so his oldest son graduated from UC or either Central or South Florida and is maybe 22 and now works for him. But his oldest son had such a terrible father and had to deal with that, right? And the 2 youngest ones have a great father. And so we've stopped the generational trauma within that family.
Yes.
Right? So can you imagine that? You can multiply that by 100,000 people in our community.
How many people are being impacted by change? Yeah.
Right.
No, it's so beautiful. You lead with kindness. When you wake up every day, I'm sure you go through stuff, like we all go through stuff, right? Yep. But you're like me, we're upbeat, we're positive, we're all about it. But what is your passion, and what keeps you centered and focused as a leader to lead with kindness in the way that you do?
Well, I love helping others. When I grew up, or when I was growing up, I wanted to be either a doctor or a lawyer because both, can allow me to use my brain, but also help others. And I've found as the older I've gotten, I really love to create things. I love to be creative. I love to think of new ideas and be different and just say, hey, there's a problem here. How can I fix it? right? And how can I do something different? I love being different. Um, and so it's things like that, you know. So I wake up every day and I'm like, what new idea am I going to have? How can we help more people? How can we? Well, one of my mentors told me a few years ago. He said, Adam, if you believe that you're a great lawyer, you know, and now if you believe you have a team of great lawyers and a team of great staff, and if you believe that clients are better off hiring you and your team than they are hiring anybody else, then you have an ethical and moral duty and obligation to grow your business, to grow your law firm. Because if they don't hire you, they're going to go to Joe Schmo down the street and they're going to get either a bad result or a bad experience.
Right.
And so our focus now is how can we grow the firm throughout South Florida, but keep the same fundamental principles?
Yes.
You know, as if when it was just me and an assistant, or just me and Manny and a legal assistant circa 2018, 2019, right? How can we have those relationships matter and be the same or very similar?
Yeah,
So
that's
we've
what to do to scale. Blake and I are always talking about that. How do we scale growth, but still keep our concierge, you know, like
right.
like a relationship based, like the quality. How do we keep that in it? And
Well, and that's the hard part, because if it was easy, then everybody can do it. And for us, it's, you know, I thought about it. I go, I never want to be a high volume, low fee model. I never want to be a clinic type. The legal work and the relationships are so much a part of what we're trying to do here, that you can only scale when you find people like us. So every lawyer is just like me. Every lawyer loves people. All of our staff, right? And we went from 6 to 20 total employees from the pandemic. And
wow.
with everything, yeah, and with everything is hard. So we had some employees that just didn't fit our core values, and we learned. But now we have such an amazing team, and it's just so nice. And because now we can help more people, serve more people. Um, we have third party financing now because I wanted to help more people. You know, I'm always the guy. You meet with me, you tell me a sob story. You know, we'll lower the fee, we'll figure out a payment plan because we want to help. And so, really, for us, that's what it's about. It's about growth for growth's sake, to help. You know, yeah, we run a business. You know, we are successful. You know, money is important because it pays the bills for 20 people, but that's probably third or fourth on our list, not number one. Because if it was number one, we would just high volume, low fee, and I would do a bunch. You know, we would already have added on other areas of law that I'm not passionate about just to make a buck. So
that's awesome. I love that, and it's God, we're so aligned on that. We're like pretty much same mentality, you and your team, and Blake and I. What do you do to prevent burnout? Because I'm big on the self-care piece. Like, what do you do for Adam to show up the best you can for your team, for your clients? And when you're a creative and a visionary, like Blake and I, this year, we had to sit down at the beginning of the year and say, what two things are we going to focus on growth, instead of spiraling in 20,000 different directions and trying, because we're creators, right? When you're a creator, it can be exhausting and it can drain you. And then you start something and then maybe, I don't want to let's go this way. So how do you prevent burnout and still be able to be a creative and a leader and all of that?
Well, everybody always says, you know, I'm like, oh, squirrel, right? You know, because I'll be talking and then I'll have an idea and I'm like, I gotta write that down, right? Because my brain, it doesn't really shut off. So that's hard. It's something that I've struggled with, and something that I think until recently, was a blessing, but a curse. And so I'm getting much better at it. You know, my children are now 3.5 and 4 months, and just spending time with them, you know, spending time with my wife, just trying to, you know, I love my family so much. I love my boys, and they're so much fun, especially when my 4-month-old gets a little older. My 3.5-month-old is I mean, I want to start life over as him, because he's so cool and so amazing, right? And just, I mean, I'm so excited for him to grow up and just be very present in that way. You know, I started reading. I mean, I read, listen to podcasts in the car, you know, do a bunch of different things. But last year I just said, you know what? To unwind, I'm going to read Harry Potter at night. So I wanted something that just, you know, no more business books at night. Just, I'm going to read Harry Potter. I have a PS5. I play my PlayStation, love Call of Duty. You know, I'm trying to work out. I'm starting to work out more, you know, especially with my wife now, and just really be appreciative. I seem to only meditate when I have like a problem going on. And so I actually last week I made a conscious decision to change that and try to do daily, meditation and mindfulness, even if it's 30 seconds, as opposed to, 2 minutes, right? Or 10 minutes or whatever. So things like that. Actually, one of my guests we filmed last week for the podcast, Craig Goldenfarb. He's a very successful personal injury lawyer in Palm Beach, and he's on TV. He talked to me about a silence retreat that he went on.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
and I heard Aaron Rodgers went on one, the NFL quarterback. So just thinking about, okay, well, as he explained it to me, maybe I can just be silent and and kind of meditate a little bit to calm. So yeah, those are all the things that I'm constantly trying to get better personally and professionally. So
Yeah, that's awesome. That's with us too. Like we're trying to be, we're good at like saying, hey, you need to take a day off. Like Blake or Sarah and I will all tell each other, or you need to go, we need you to take them off, and we can tell the burnout. But Blake and I are trying to do a preventative now. So we're going to be doing 2 things a year each for like time off for personal growth or spiritual growth or whatever it is. So we're going to schedule those ahead to be preventative, because we don't want to get to the point where we're like, oh my God, I'm so burned out, I can't function. Right. So what can we do? And we're always like, we do some mornings, we do a meeting together with like an inspirational reading and share goals and things we're grateful for. So yeah, I love that. And sometimes we do have to be backed into a corner to be like, all right, what do I need to do for myself? Right. Because it does.
Well, that happened to me last year. So maybe July, early August, just we were really busy. I was really stressed. And I just told my wife, I said, I need a day. So I'm taking a day off in a week and a half. I'm going, and she booked me at the spa, at the O in Palm Beach. And it was a right. It's the meditation area, and just, it was so calm and serene. And I think it took a random Wednesday off. And I was like, my phone is off. I'm going there. I'm relaxing. And it was a great day. And tomorrow's my birthday. And I'm starting a tradition. Well, I started it last year, but every year for my birthday and my kid's birthday, we're going to skip school, skip work, and we're going to do something really fun. So my 4-month-old, he's too young. We're not bringing him next year. He'll come out. But for Chase, well, he's not in school. He's not in school yet. But with Chase, for the last 2 weeks, I've been telling him we're going to skip school on Wednesday. So I can't wait until we get a report from the teachers saying, Chase says he's skipping school on Wednesday. But we're going to the Museum of Discovery and Science in Fort Lauderdale. We're going to go to an IMAX, like, cool kid movie. And then we're going to go to Extreme Action Park and play video games.
Love that.
And yeah, it's just going to be a fun day. And I want to do that for all of their birthdays and mine, just boys' day, and have fun, right? Because I think that's what it's about. I work too hard to not do it.
Absolutely. You probably just missed Sarah. We sent Sarah for her Christmas gift to get a maternity massage at the O. She was there last Monday. So we made, we make each other do things like that, and sometimes express when we need to. But that's beautiful to hear. So, okay, so you have a lot of things. How can people find you? Where's your podcast? How can people find you? All your socials, like, share it all.
We're super easy. So the podcast is Success in South Florida. You can just look at that, Spotify, Apple Podcast, subscribe. We're now into the hundreds of subscribers. We're very happy. We'll hopefully get up into the thousands real soon.
Right.
Rossen Law Firm is the firm name. Where our website is very easy. Social media is all the same. You can just Google me, Adam Rossen Law Firm. We have fun. We give educational value. And so I think following us and being around us is a good way to just learn more about the law, feel protected, and and watch people have a little fun too.
Yes, and post this, I'm going to text you to schedule our follow-up of the thing that we talked about we want to do together, so we don't forget that and get too busy. So we'll schedule something to go in that place. And Adam should be tagged in this, and I'll make sure Blake did put your website in there. So just make sure all your stuff is there. But if you have any questions for Adam or for myself, direct message us. This chain will also continue going after, and we'll check it and answer anything that you have. And Adam, thanks again so much for your time and your energy today.
Oh, of course. And look, anybody who listens to this, if you want to be involved in the legal system or, or criminal justice, if you have a friend or family that's maybe young and not sure what they want to do, we take interns every semester. Our summer internship is kind of our flagship, where it's a very specific regulated program that we put on, but we take in the fall and the spring as well. We have, if you want to shadow us for a week or two, sure. I mean, you can't commit to a full program. Absolutely. Anybody who wants to be involved, whether you like criminal law or not, come by. We love paying it forward. We love taking on interns and just being an inspiration. I'm going to lunch with a lawyer who just moved down here um, next week. She applied for a job. We couldn't hire her because she didn't have any criminal law experience. But I said, hey, let's go to lunch so I can just meet you and give you some advice on, how to start your career and
Love
where to
that.
go. Yeah. So
Love
we're
that.
always trying to pay it forward.
Mentoring and
Mhm.
that's a good thing to do. So thank
Yep.
you, awesome, Adam. Thanks so much. Any final thoughts before we close up?
Thanks for having me. And like I said, anybody reach out. We truly are here to mentor others, to help others and pay it forward. So you never know unless you try. Don't fear anything, but don't fear rejection. And, if there's anything I can do or my team can do for anybody, even if it has nothing to do with representation, come to us because we love helping others.
Awesome. Love that. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.